This man smacks this old lady, and it leads to our entire unit going into a brawl. Contrary to popular belief, psych wards are actually calm most of the time. But sometimes hell can break loose at any moment. So peep this. There was a patient on the unit and he had done 10 plus years in prison. And before they released him to the public, they released him to our psych ward for evaluation. This happened so many times. And because he had that prison mindset, he was real particular about his stuff. You can't go in his room without his permission. If he got a stack of papers and you touch it, he'll be ready to lose it all. Well, he had a certain chair that he liked to sit in this community room. When he was in that room, nobody sat in that chair. What's understood don't need to be explained. He would sit there, and when he got up, he would put his stuff there. He would say, "I'll be right back. Nobody sit in my chair," like that type of stuff. And nobody wanted smoke. He definitely had some screws loose. Well, in walks an old lady. We'll call her Rose. She had a real old name. Rose waddled herself into that room and sat down and took a nap. Rose was often heavily medicated. She had a very slow walk. She had a slow blink, and she had no teeth. And after she had just got her concoction of medications, she plopped herself down in my man's chair and she took herself a nap. Mind you, she was the only one chilling in that room, minding her business. Bro walks in, sees her napping in his chair, and without hesitation, he walks over to her and downward slaps her face like in a down. I've never seen that type of slap, but it was effective. Miss Rose ain't even know what hit her. She didn't even know what hit her. She was asleep, so it was a delayed reaction. But he stood over her like, "Yeah, I did it." Afraid for her life, she starts hollering, "Ah, ah." I'm on the other side of the unit. Couple of my coworkers get there before me, but by then we hear Miss Rose talk about he slapped me. So another patient says, "He what?" And he had a couple screws loose. And he pushes past my coworkers and tackles the dude that's from prison, and they get to scuffling. By now, all the unit has been alerted. People are coming out of their rooms. They want to see what's going on. I'm doing crowd and traffic control while also seeing a couple of my coworkers in there being too timid for the situation and not using the proper patient crisis prevention intervention holds to be sure that they're subdued. Then you got a couple of patients that want to play hero. We got Tweedledee and Tweedledum coming down saying, "Yeah, you're the guy that's always trying to tell people where to sit and where not to sit. We're tired of your shit too, buddy." And they start trying to go at him as well. Meanwhile, those two guys, the prison guy and the guy that intervened, they're on the ground scuffling. And, Miss Rose is still in there. My coworker is unsuccessfully keeping these guys apart on the ground. The two guys that I mentioned that came down the hallway are trying to come in. Then there's another 2 or 3 patients that try to stop them. They don't like the way they being stopped, so they start fighting. Meanwhile, while that's happening, it's a patient that's like, "Oh, I'm about to use this as my opportunity to try and escape." And they start running at the door full force to hit the door and shoulder the door to try to break it open. Mind you, our doors are like held by these very, very strong magnets. And they're also industrial. So he bounced off that mug a couple of times. Meanwhile, the med nurse is trying to draw up as many booty darts as she can count. And she's telling the other nurse to get the doctor on the phone to get authorization for all of these darts because you need that. Oh, it got so bad. It was bloody noses, teeth on the ground. People was getting bit. Hair was getting pulled. I'm wrestling with a patient. The rounds board is on the ground. The papers are everywhere. A nurse from the other unit starts coming with meds she drew up on her unit. And while people are on the ground, she's administering meds without doctor's approval. You get a booty dart. You get a booty dart. You get a booty dart. And then the unit manager just calls the police because it's like, we can't do this. Calls the police. Y'all, the police have to come to our unit and restore order. But that even ends up backfiring because some patients are just like, "Arrest me, arrest me. I'm not trying to be here." Then you got Miss Rose like, "Take him to jail. He slapped me. Take him to jail." Then they got to ask her if she want to press charges. The patient that intervened and tried to fight the prison dude ends up with a broken ankle. After all them booty darts were administered, and people were put in their rooms, and the cops put enough cuffs on some of the people that wouldn't calm down, and some people were put in seclusion. We had to use the other rooms, the other unit's seclusion room and restraint room for some of these rambunctious people. But after that, we had so much paperwork. Oh my gosh, we had so much incident reports. And this was all because Miss Rose decided to sit in this dude's chair. It can really go down that fast. Could you see yourself working in the psych ward? And if you've ever been a patient in the psych ward, what's the craziest story that's ever happened to you?